Hey, Jordan Bench here, jordanbench.com. This video is all about how to take sermon notes. So I figured it would be a good idea to do a video on this because if you're going to church, if you're listening to a sermon, or if you're watching videos online and you're trying to learn biblically, you're trying to grow, you're trying to get stronger in these areas, then I think it's important that you take notes effectively so that when you take notes that you're actually able to comprehend what it is that you're learning and that you're able to take notes that you can go back on and look on and make it more of an interactive thing. So one thing that I see typically that people do is like when they're sitting in church or they're taking notes, watching a video, whatever it may be, they typically just, it's almost as if they're not even listening to what the pastor is saying or what the message is, because all they're doing is their heads down and they're just constantly taking word for word notes. They're just doing that. And a lot of times it's like you're not even connected with what the message even is, and you're not able to make connections and link things together. One thing that I did early on, which was how I was able to like learn quite rapidly, was I didn't take any notes at all. All I actually did was I just had earbuds in while I was at work, and I just listened to content over and over, and I did it for hours and hours because I didn't have the ability to take notes. If I did, I would have to literally walk away from the job I was doing at work and go over to a table and then just jot down something real quick. So that was really the only way that I was able to take some type of note or some type of reference. So I had to teach myself to like really listen intently. So this is kind of what you want to do is you really want to listen intently, but you want to take notes effectively, and you don't want to do it to where you're just overwhelming yourself to where all you're doing is taking notes and writing to where you're not even engaged with the message. So I learned a couple tactics from a man named Jim Quick. He's like one of the world's foremost memory masters, and he kind of had like some ideas on how to take notes effectively. And so what I did was I took like what he had on how to take notes, like say in school or if you're going through classes, and I applied it to like what you would do like in church or if you're sitting down and you're listening to some type of sermon or something. So the way that I do it is, like I said, I don't get too caught up in making sure I get all the notes down, but I look for things specifically. So as I'm sitting in a sermon, I'm looking for what verses are being said. So if I have a piece of paper or if I'm using my phone, what I do is at the very top of it, I'll have scriptures at the very top of it. I'll have like a category, we'll say scriptures. So anytime I hear a scripture that was referenced, I will write the scripture down. I just write the book and then the verse down. I don't write like the whole entire scripture. If I want to, I could just write like a couple little words that will help trigger in my mind what that scripture is referencing. So I might do that, but I'll just start listing out all the scriptures that are being referenced. So to give you like a visualization, I'll have like a piece of paper or like an app, and I'll make sections. So my first section will always be scriptures. Okay, so I make sure I have enough room to write down all the scriptures that is said. Then the next section that I have is going to be like insights or even quotes. So underneath the scriptures will be insights or quotes. So as I'm listening to a sermon, if there's anything that is said that I'm like, ooh, that was like a golden nugget. That was a really good piece of information, or that was like maybe the pastor said like a one-liner that it's like, you know what, that's a really good quote. I'm gonna take note of that. So that's what I'll do. In that section, I'll go ahead and write down any little key nuggets that I hear or anything that is like one of those quotes or one-liners. I'll write that down underneath the scripture section. So then that way I'm able to look at here's the scriptures, and then underneath that I have whatever like insights I might have from that. Or maybe it's like an idea that I get from that. So it might not be what the person said, but maybe it's something that I'm like, ooh, this goes right in line with that, and this is my take on it. Okay, so this is like you're doing it interactively. Then the next section I have, which is it can either be next to it or it can be directly underneath it. It doesn't really matter, however you want to do it. But then I'll have questions. So as I'm listening, I'm going through something, and if a question arises to where he references something or he mentions something that I'm not sure what it means or what it is, then I'll start writing out a question like, what is he referring to this? What does that mean? What is this even? What's the definition of that? So here's what happens. As I'm doing that, I'm giving myself homework, because what I'm doing is I'm writing questions down that are going to help me. Like when I get home, I can go home and research and say, okay, this is what he talked about. These were the verses. This was the context. And now this is what the question I had about it. So now I'm going to dig into it and figure out what the question is. So this is an interactive way for you to take notes while you're trying to learn the Bible, while you're in a sermon on a Sunday, or maybe you're just watching a video online, whatever it is. This is an interactive way for you to just get a database of scriptures, for you to get those little like one-liner, those nuggets, those quotes from people, and then also give yourself like a way to just dig deeper into what was being said. Because obviously, if they're saying something and you're not getting it, it's good for you to look deeper into it so that you have a better understanding of it. All right. Now, this is going to be a much more effective way of taking notes versus you just constantly writing. Like I sit in church and I'll see people do that, and I'm like, you're better off to not take any notes at all and just to listen. But the more effective way is to do what I just laid out. All right. So anyways, I hope this gave you like some aha moments. Maybe this will help you out with your note-taking skills and help you retain the information even better because it's more interactive. Go ahead and give this video a like or a thumbs up if you do like this content, if you like this kind of information. If you have any questions for me, then go ahead and comment below. I'll definitely reply back to you. And go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video.